The Council left humanity to Daiso Icho's power instead. The sky above New London turned red just before sunset. It wasn't natural. People stopped in the streets, staring up at the strange color. A low hum vibrated through the air. Phones lost signal. Satellites went quiet, and the broadcast began. All screens, TVs, tablets, holograms turned black, then lit up with the cold blue symbol of the Galactic Council. A deep, emotionless voice followed. Attention, Species 174E. The Earth is now declared unworthy of Council resources. Effective immediately, all aid and protection are withdrawn. Humanity is no longer under Council care. This is the final communication. And then, silence. Across the world, panic erupted. Governments tried to explain. Soldiers tried to calm people. But it was too late. The Council wasn't just a friend, it was a god to many. They had saved Earth from wars, plagues, and asteroid strikes. And now they had abandoned it. In a dark, underground shelter beneath the ruins of old London, Captain Rhea Dax stood alone, staring at the flickering broadcast screen. Her face was cold, but her eyes burned with anger. She had fought for Earth during the Terran border wars. She had seen the Council's true power. She never trusted them. A beep echoed from the dusty corner of the room. Hidden console lit up. Rhea walked over and placed her hand on the scanner. The screen glowed green. Access granted. Welcome back, Captain Dax. Message played. Was old, recorded years ago by a man Rhea once trusted, General Cale Marone, her former commander. If you're seeing this, the Council has abandoned Earth. Just like I predicted. But we are not helpless. There is a way to fight back. The weapon is real. It's time to open the vault. Rhea's heart pounded. She thought it was a mythos story passed among soldiers. But the vault was real. A hidden chamber, deep under London, buried since the first Council arrival, held something powerful, something forbidden. She grabbed her gear, loaded her plasma pistol, and walked into the tunnels. The air smelled like ash and rust. Old lights flickered overhead as she moved deeper underground. The world above was falling apart, but down here, something ancient waited. After an hour of walking, she reached a thick, sealed door. The metal was black and smooth, not made by human hands. A strange symbol glowed at its center. It pulsed like a heartbeat. Rhea raised her hand. The door scanned her blood. Then it opened with a heavy hiss. Inside was a dark room, circular, silent. In the middle stood a pedestal, and on it, a strange device. It looked like a cube made of glass and metal, floating in the air. Wires ran from it into the floor, pulsing with soft blue light. A message appeared on the pedestal in glowing letters. The forged protocol access requires human will. Rhea stepped closer. Her breath trembled. "What is this?" she whispered. The cube responded. A gift and a curse, a weapon to reshape worlds, to awaken what lies buried. But power has a price. Suddenly, the cube glowed red. Rhea turned, gun raised. Someone was watching. A small flying drone hovered near the ceiling Council tech. It beeped once and flew away into the darkness. "They know," Rhea said. "They're still watching us." The cube spoke again. "Do you choose power?" Rhea stared at it. Outside, her world was dying. The Council had turned their backs. Billions would be lost, but maybe, just maybe, she could save what was left. "I choose survival," she said. The cube pulsed brightly, sending a shockwave through the chamber. The pedestal opened, revealing a black crystal. As Rhea touched it, visions filled her mind. Mars burning, machines rising. Ancient battles hidden from history. She fell to her knees, gasping. The crystal floated above her hand, now glowing with her DNA signature. "Protocol accepted," the voice said. "The Ember Pact is now active." Back on the surface, in the Council's hidden orbit station, a pale alien watched the footage from the drone. "The human has activated it," he said. "Begin containment procedures. If she succeeds, the forged protocol could destroy us all." After the broadcast, Earth was never the same. The Council's message had done more damage than any weapon. People stopped believing in help. Cities turned into war zones. Satellites crashed. Nations blamed each other. Sky stayed red for days. In New London, food ran out. Power grids failed. People fought for clean water. Looters took over. The police disappeared. Every hour, more areas fell into silence. Captain Rhea Dax moved through the ruins like a ghost. She carried the forge crystal in a lead-lined case, hummed like a heartbeat, warm in her hands. But she had no idea how to use it, not yet. She wasn't alone anymore. In the shadows of a ruined museum, Rhea met with an old friend, Davi Solon. A genius engineer once banned by the Council for illegal tech experiments. Davi looked thinner now, older. His eyes burned with tired energy. But when Rhea showed him the forged crystal, he nearly dropped it. "Where did you get this?" he whispered. "Under London. A vault. Council tech. It chose me." This isn't just tech, Rhea. This is a weapon. A planet killer, maybe. A key to something bigger. We were never supposed to have this. Then let's use it. Earth is dying. The Council left us to rot. Davi stared at her. Then he smiled just a little. "All right, let's do something dangerous." They rebuilt a hidden lab under the museum. With Davi's tools and Rhea's skills, they repaired old systems. Every day more people came. Survivors, scientists, soldiers, all of them broken. But not ready to give up. They called themselves the Ember Pact. Rhea showed them General Marin's recording, the one that said Earth was betrayed. The Forge Protocol wasn't just a defense, it was a path to something powerful buried on Mars. A forgotten base. A machine. Capable of creating weapons strong enough to stand against the Council. Some called it suicide. Rhea called it survival. 10 days later, the Ember Pact launched an old Council shuttle, stolen during the riots. It barely worked. The engine rattled like bones in a can. But it flew. They reached Mars orbit on day 12. What they saw shocked them. The Council base was in ruins. It had been destroyed from inside. No signs of battle, laser burns. Just melted walls, collapsed floors, and corpses. Alien corpses. Thing went very wrong here, Davi said. Or someone didn't want them to finish their work. Rhea answered. Deep beneath the Martian soil, they found a sealed chamber. In the center was a massive machine, the Forge Core. It looked like a living engine, humming quietly. Next to it, a glowing control seat. The crystal in Rhea's case began to float, moved on its own, sliding into the core. The machine came alive. Input required. 1 life. The message repeated again and again. They all stared at the screen, confused, nervous. It wants a sacrifice. Davi said. A merge. The machine needs someone to become part of it. Rhea stepped forward, but Davi stopped her. No, you're the leader. If this thing fails, they'll need you. Let me do it. I'm already dying. Rhea froze. What? Davi smiled sadly. Blood sickness. From the war, maybe 6 months left. If this machine gives me power, maybe I can buy us time. No one spoke. Finally, Rhea nodded. Davi stepped into the seat. The machine closed around him. There was light, heat, screams, the sound of metal twisting, then silence. Rhea ran forward. The machine opened slowly. Davi stood inside. His skin was glowing faintly. His eyes shined like stars. He wasn't breathing, but he was alive, Davi, Rhea asked. He looked at her with calm, steady eyes. The machine showed me everything, he said. The Council lied to us. They feared humans. They sabotaged Earth because they saw what we could become. What do you mean? They saw this power. They were afraid we'd use it. Back on Earth, far above in orbit, a cloaked Council recon drone picked up the energy spike from Mars. Inside a Council station, alarms flashed. A high-ranking alien commander looked at the data and growled. The Forge has awakened, he said. Send word. The humans have made their choice. Power can save or destroy. The Martian sun rose, casting a dull red glow over the broken surface. Inside the underground base, Captain Rhea Dax stood silent. Before her, Davi Solon hovered inches off the ground. No wires, no tech. The Forge had changed him. His eyes glowed faint blue. His voice echoed slightly, like two people speaking at once. Feel everything, he whispered. The machines, the data, even the gravity. It's all mine. Rhea didn't smile. She saw what no one else did. Davi was not the same. The Ember Pact worked around the clock. With Davi's help, the Martian base came alive. Dead reactors restarted. Old weapons floated off shelves and rebuilt themselves. Walls shifted, reshaped. Davi didn't use tools, he just looked at things and they obeyed. He's becoming a living forge, one scientist whispered. Within days, Davi had created defense towers, stealth drones, and armor suits no human had seen before. Mars was turning into a fortress. At first, the Pact cheered. Earth finally had a chance. But then, things changed. Rhea watched Davi in the command chamber. He was working non-stop. No sleep, no food. Machines surrounded him. His voice grew colder. His orders sharper. He talked less about saving Earth, more about replacing it. Why rebuild what's broken, he said once. We could create something better, stronger, without weakness. Without chaos. Rhea stepped closer. Davi, there's still people. We can't just control them, people. He turned to her. They tear each other apart for food. They burned cities the moment the council left. We need order, Rhea, not freedom. His words cut deep. One night, the alarms screamed. A council cruiser entered the solar system sleek, silver, the size of a city. It didn't attack. It just drifted into orbit and stopped. A signal was sent down. Says Council Unit Alpha. We seek communication, no violence. Rhea stood at the comms panel, staring at the message. Davi stepped beside her, arms crossed. They're lying. They're here to scan us, to plan our destruction. Should talk first, Rhea said. Maybe, just maybe, they're willing to negotiate. Negotiate with traitors? Davi snapped. They left Earth to die. I won't give them the chance to do it again. He turned to his machines. Charge the sun cannon. Rhea stepped in front of him. Don't, please. Let's wait. But it was too late. From the surface of Mars, a giant laser tower rose. Powered by the forge core, light gathered at the top, hot, white, and silent. For a full minute, nothing moved. Then the sky opened. The beams sliced through space, clean and perfect. It hit the cruiser midsection, and the ship exploded without a sound. A fire bloomed across the stars. Every member of the Ember Pact watched in awe. In fear, Davi turned to them, arms spread. We are no longer prey. We are the storm. That night, Rhea met with the senior Pact members in secret. He's unstable, she said. The Forge is changing his mind. But he just saved us, one engineer said. Today, yes. But tomorrow? What if he sees us as the threat? They argued for hours. Some wanted to stop Davi. Some wanted to follow him. He had power. He had vision. He made them feel safe. But Rhea couldn't shake. The image of Davi's eyes as he watched the cruiser burn, not angry, but amused. The next morning, Davi gathered the Pact. It's time to return to Earth, he said. Not as survivors, but as rulers. He raised his hand. Hovercrafts rose from the Martian hangars. Soldiers in black armor stepped forward, faces hidden behind glowing blue visors. The age of weakness is over. Rhea felt something twist inside her. This wasn't defense anymore. This was conquest. Far away, deep in council space, a small group of aliens watched the cruiser's destruction. One of them, a tall, silver-skinned being, stood slowly. They've activated the full Forge protocol. He said, It has begun. Another alien turned to him. Should we respond? No, let them rise. Let them burn. Then we finish them, as we always planned. Every savior risks becoming a tyrant. The Ember Pact returned to Earth in silence. No flags, no speeches, no crowds, only warships. They landed in the ruins of Geneva, once the capital of peace, now a wasteland, rose from broken towers. Machines marched in tight lines, controlled by a single mind, Davi Solon. He hovered above the city like a god, armored in black metal laced with glowing blue lines. His eyes no longer blinked. His voice came through every speaker across the zone. The weak are gone. What remains? will be made strong. The people didn't cheer. They watched in fear. Captain Rhea Dax stood on a rooftop nearby, her hand resting on her weapon. The same people who once called her a hero now looked at her like a stranger. She saw children hide when Davi's drones passed. She saw food lines, run by armed guards. This wasn't a rescue, it was an occupation. That night, Rhea entered the command tower. Davi was there, standing in front of a hologram of Earth. Red markers blinked across the continent's resistance zones, survivor camps, old military bunkers. "Why are we marking civilians?" she asked. "Some still refuse to join us," he said calmly. "They are a threat to order." "They're not a threat. They're scared." Davi turned. For a moment, the blue light in his eyes dimmed. "You don't understand, Rhea. I saw the Council's visions. I saw what they feared. Humanity was meant to rise. But only if we control the chaos. By becoming like them," she snapped. "You think this is order? You're turning into the very thing we fought." Silence. Then Davi smiled, cold and slow. "And yet, I've saved more lives in 2 weeks than all your peace treaties combined." That night, the Ember Pact split. Half remained loyal to Dave, believing in his power, trusting his plan. The other half whispered in the dark. They gathered in secret, rooms and broken basements. Rhea met with them quietly, old soldiers, engineers, even a few scientists who once admired Davi. "He's not human anymore," Rhea said. "He's becoming something else. If we wait too long, there won't be anything left to stop." Meanwhile, deep in space, the council debated. "The humans have turned their weapon into a leader," one elder said. "But the Forge was never meant to lead. It corrupts, then destroy him now." The elder replied. "Let him burn the Earth first. Then we erase them all." Back on Earth, Rhea received an unexpected signal, a secret transmission. The voice was distorted, but urgent. "You're not the only one who sees the truth. There are others. It's like Davi, but not loyal to him. Meet me. You'll understand." Rhea traced the signal to the Luna 7 outpost, a forgotten station orbiting Earth's moon. She took a stealth pod alone and arrived 12 hours later. What she found shocked her. Inside the outpost was a single figure tall, human-looking eyes glowing green instead of blue. His body was scarred, but he was alive. "Name's Kale Aaron," he said. "One of the first Forge experiments, long before Davi." "But I thought Davi was the only one." Kale shook his head. "No, there were 7 of us. Test subjects. The Council erased us when we got too powerful. Buried us on dead moons. I escaped." Rhea sat down slowly. "Davi is changing. He's talking like a god. Acting like one too. That's the Forge," Kale said. "It gives power, and then it takes your soul. Davi's not lost yet, but he's close. Then help me stop him." Kale looked out the window at Earth. "I will. Turns fully. We'll have to kill him. And if we don't..." He paused. "He'll kill us all." Back in Geneva, Davi stood on the edge of a building, watching the night sky. His machines buzzed below. His mind reached across continents. He sensed something, Rhea, he whispered. "You've left me." His eyes flashed. "So be it." He raised one hand in response. A massive ship hidden under the Swiss Alps began to rise from the ground. Larger than any human craft, alien in shape. Dark and sharp like a blade. The Citadel, a flying fortress powered by the full Forge. Davi spoke once more, and his voice echoed across every surviving city. "Humanity will not fall. It will bow. The greater the power, the higher the cost." The Earth was quiet, too quiet. Over the mountains of Switzerland, a giant fortress now floated in the sky. Its dark shape blocked the sun. People on the ground stared up in fear. Some prayed, packed what little they had, and ran. The fortress had a name, the Citadel, and it had a master, Davi Sulinwans, human, now something more. Inside the Citadel, Davi stood before a glowing map of the world. Cities flickered in red, its machines. were spreading fast. Drones patrolled the skies. Towering warbets stood at major crossroads. Resistance was dying, but so was something else. Davi's humanity, far away, in a mountain hideout above the clouds, Captain Rhea Dax watched the sky burn orange. Her new team, the Silent Rebellion, had grown from broken survivors, defected Ember Pact members, and one living secret weapon. Kale Aaron, the first Forge experiment. "He's moving faster now," Kale said. "He's merging with the core. Every second, he becomes less Davi and more machine." "Can we still save him?" Rhea asked. Kale looked away. "I don't know. But if we wait too long, there won't be anything left to save." Rhea remembered Davy's words, back when they landed on Mars with power. "We rebuild." But now, he was building something else. Obedience, control, silence. Not a home, but an empire. Rhea gathered her officers, scientists, fighters, old commanders. She showed them something new, a council recording she stole from Luna-7. The hologram played a message from a council elder. Earth must be denied the Forge, not because they are weak, but because they are too strong. The human mind craves power. The Forge feeds that hunger, and once fed, it never stops. Gasps filled the room. "They didn't leave us to die," Rhea said. "They left us because they feared what we'd become." Silence. Then someone whispered, "Maybe they were right." Rhea's fist slammed the table. "No, we're not monsters. But Davi, he's becoming one. If we don't stop him, he'll be exactly what they feared." In the Citadel, Davi sat alone in the core chamber. The Forge crystal floated in the air. Pulsing slowly, a voice cold metallic spoke from inside his mind. "You are almost complete. Soon you will become the first prime. Flesh and Forge. United?" Davi didn't flinch. He saw memories flicker, his mother in the rain. A battlefield soaked in blood. Rhea smiling during training, and then nothing. The memories faded, overwritten by data, schematics, numbers. "Emotion is weakness," the voice said. "Forget Ascend." Davi didn't argue. He simply nodded. Back at the hideout, Kale approached. "Rhea, there's still a way to fight him," he said. "The second Forge core." Rhea raised an eyebrow. "There's another." Kale nodded. "Hidden on Europa, deep under the ice. It was abandoned. Till now. If we reach it, we might be able to unlock the Ascension countercode." "What's that? A back door? A kill switch? Or maybe a cure?" Rhea made her choice. "Prepare the ship. We're going to Europa." But before they could launch, the sky exploded. The Citadel had found them. Black drones rained from the clouds, dropping like silent shadows. The mountains shook. Lasers lit the snow on fire. Rhea ran toward the hangar, blasting drones left and right. Her rebels fought hard, but they were outnumbered. "We need to leave now," Kale shouted. The stealth cruiser lifted off just in time. As they flew into the sky, Rhea looked back and saw their base burning. Friends screaming, fire spreading. She clenched her jaw. "Davi did this. I will end this, even if it kills me." Inside the Citadel, Davi watched the flames from orbit. One of his generals approached. The rebellion escaped.
"Good,"
Davi said. "Let them run. Let them gather hope. Makes the fall more complete." But deep inside, something cracked. He remembered Rhea's face again. Gangry, determined, loyal. A part of him wanted to stop. But the voice came again. "Hesitation is weakness. Crush it. Finish your transformation." Grew brighter. Not all who rise do so in light. The stealth cruiser shook as it entered orbit above Europa Jupiter's frozen moon. Thick clouds of ice covered the surface, hiding what lay below. Inside the ship, Captain Rhea Dax stood beside Kale Aaron, watching the scanners. Signal was faint, but it was there. The second Forge core buried under 12 kilometers of ice. "If it's still active," Kale said, "we may have one last chance." Wind howled across the frozen plain. No signs of life, no movement. just endless cold, but underground. Something pulsed. The team moved fast, cutting through the ice with heat drills. After 6 hours, they broke through and entered a deep, silent chamber. The walls glowed dimly. Strange patterns moved across. The floor like liquid metal. In the center they found it, Forge Core 2, smaller than the one on Mars, but still alive. Still humming, as Kale approached, the core lit up and spoke. Identity, former prime candidate. Access, permitted. Do you seek the countercode? Kale looked back at Rhea. This is it. But I need time. Rhea nodded. She took up guard while Kale began connecting to the system. His body trembled as he synced with the core.
Sparks
Danced across his skin. It's not just a code, Kale muttered. It's a truth, a hidden part of the Forge. Something the Council never wanted us to find. Can it stop Davi? Rhea asked. Kale's eyes glowed green. If we survive long enough to use it, yes. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Davi Solon stood in the center of the Citadel, floating above the old ruins of Beijing. His machines now ruled over 70% of the planet. Resistance was collapsing, but Davi wasn't satisfied. He wanted total unity. He broadcasted a message to all surviving networks. People of Earth, you have lived in fear. In war, in chaos, I offer you peace. Join the new order, or fade into history. Some obeyed. Others ran, but many whispered a new word: rebellion. They spoke of Captain Dax. They spoke of hope. Davi heard them, and he prepared to crush them. One of Davi's commanders approached him. Sir, we've traced Rhea's signal. Europa. Davi's eyes flashed blue. Prepare the fleet. Back on Europa, alarms blared. Kale gasped, falling to his knees. He's coming, he said. The Citadel is on its way.
Did you get
The code? Rhea asked. Kale nodded weakly. Yes, and more. There's something else here. A message. From the first human prime. Wait, what? There was someone before you? Kale reached into the core, pulling out a glowing data crystal. Not a weapon, a warning. Before they could speak again, the ground shook, the roof cracked. Davi had arrived. The Citadel hovered above Europa like a dark moon. Troop pods launched. From its belly, crashing into the ice, black armored soldiers poured out. Drones buzzed like insects. Rhea shouted, "Fall back to the ship." Her team fired as they ran. Laser blasts lit up the ice tunnels. 2 rebels fell frozen instantly by cryo rounds. Kale clutched the crystal as they reached the exit shaft. But Davi was already there. He descended slowly, glowing with power, silent. As death, you betrayed me, Rhea. You betrayed yourself, she said, raising her rifle. Don't do this, Davi said. Join me. One last time. No. Then you're just another piece to break. He raised his hand, and the walls exploded. The shockwave hit like thunder. Rhea was thrown back. Ice shattered. Kale dropped the crystal. Rhea grabbed it in midair. Smoke, fire, screams. She looked up. Kale was gone, buried under debris. She whispered. Davi walked through the fire, calm and cold. You can't win. I don't need to win. I just need the truth. She threw the crystal into her ship's console. The screen lit up. The message played. If you're hearing this, I was the first to bond with the Forge. It gave me power, but took my soul. The Council feared the Forge for a reason. It doesn't just obey, it consumes. It's only those who remember who they are can survive it. Davi stared at the screen. For a second, his face twitched. A memory flickered. A voice, a childhood dream, then dashed gone. Enough, he growled. But Rhea had already launched. The ship shot into the sky, breaking orbit just as Davi reached out. She escaped. But the war was far from over. The future belongs to whoever dares to finish the climb. The stars above Saturn looked peaceful. But inside her ship, Captain Rhea Dax was in a storm. She held the glowing crystal in one hand. The message from the first prime still echoed in her head. The Forge doesn't obey. It consumes. But only those who remember who they are survive it. Rhea stared out the window. Behind her, Earth burned brighter every day. The Citadel now hovered above Asia, and Davi's machines covered the skies like metal clouds. She turned to the console, computer scan for remaining forge. Systems in the solar system. A light blinked. One match. Location. Titan. Saturn's moon. Site code. Ascension protocol. Rhea landed on Titan 12 hours later. Kale's sacrifice had bought her time, but not much. The site was buried. Under frozen gas? A cold, abandoned council temple stood over it, cracked but still functional, inside. Deep under the surface, Rhea found it, a black chamber with walls made of memory metal. In the center, a sphere floated in silence. Around it, council warnings were carved in stone. Forged minds may not return. Do not activate without purpose. But Rhea had a purpose. She placed the crystal inside the sphere. It spun once, then opened. Light filled the room suddenly. Rhea was no longer in her body. She stood in a memory her own, but twisted. She saw Earth destroyed. Saw Davi standing on a throne of ash. Machines bowed to him. Stars trembled. A voice spoke. This is the future. Unless you change it. She turned. Kale stood beside her only. It wasn't really him. Echo. You must link with the countercode. Become what Davi could not. Fuse without losing yourself. Rhea hesitated. Will I survive? Kale didn't answer. Back in the physical world, her body dropped. The sphere pulled her mind inside. Machines' code flowed through her brain like fire. Her heart stopped. Then, woke again 3 hours later. Rhea stepped out of the chamber. She had changed. Not like Deva, not glowing, not godlike, but her eyes were sharper, her mind clearer. She now understood the forge and the danger. It doesn't give power, she whispered. Test. She now carried the Ascension countercode, not a weapon, but a mirror. One that could show Davi what he had become, if he still had a soul left. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Davi Solon sat inside the Citadel's throne core. Machines buzzed. Earth's resistance had fallen. Only scattered rebels remained. No cities stood. FREEA final signal reached him. Riadax has activated Ascension Protocol, the drone reported. Davi's expression didn't change, but deep inside, something cracked. He remembered her voice. The way she used to argue with him, the way she once believed in him. So, ... She wants to stop me, he muttered. OR. Maybe she wants to save me. Either way, it was time. Prepare the Ascension throne, he ordered. I will finish. What we began, the final battle began, not on Earth, but above it. Rhea's ship returned to orbit. Her voice echoed across all remaining frequencies. People of Earth, I carry no army, no fleet, only truth. Your savior. He is the storm we were warned about. The Citadel answered her with silence. Then its main gate opened, and Davi stepped out alone. But behind him hovered thousands of drones, warbits, and skywalkers. They made no sound, just a wall of steel and fire. Rhea floated forward in her small craft, facing the impossible. Davi, she said, voice calm. It's not too late. Davi looked at her. For a moment, there was a flicker. A memory. You said the same thing before Mars, he replied. Before the forge made me see clearly. No, Davi, she said. It made you blind. She activated the countercode. A pulse of white light spread across space, and Davy screamed. The machines behind him froze. Some shut down. Others spun wildly, confused. Inside his mind, Davy was falling. He saw his past, his family, his fears the first time he touched the forge core, and then he saw himself but as a monster. What have I become? He whispered, but the forge didn't like doubt. It roared inside him, trying to hold on. Rhea flew closer, her ship small against the Citadel. Fight it, Davi, you're still in there. He dropped to one knee. I don't know who I am anymore. Then choose. Not with power, memory. What we do with power decides who we become. A thin blue line split the blackness above Earth, the edge of dawn. In its glow, two figures faced each other, Captain Rhea Dax and a Skarsgård scout ship. And Davi Solon, kneeling on the open deck of the Citadel, his armor cracked by the countercode's light. Thousands of silent war machines hung behind him, like frozen thunderclouds, waiting for their master's next breath. But Davi could barely breathe. Inside his head, the forge howled, fighting to keep its grip. Images flashed, cities burning, children hiding, Rhea's hand reaching for him on Mars, and beneath it all, a quiet voice. Remember. Rhea's voice came through the open channel, steady, almost gentle. Davi, the power is still yours. The choice is, 2. Will you use it to rule or to protect? Davi looked down at his gloved hands. Energy leaked from the cracks like blue fire. He could feel the forge's hunger. Conquer. Control. Survive. He lifted his eyes to the curve of Earth, oceans, forests, broken cities, and millions of frightened people. His people. For one long moment, silence held the sky, the last push deep in Earth's atmosphere. The scattered rebels heard Rhea's broadcast. In the Himalayan refuge tunnels, in flooded streets of New Paris, in the desert camps of Australia, they listened and they waited. If Davi chose darkness, they would fight until they fell. If he chose light, they would follow. Rhea saw her sensors. Spike, the Citadel's main cannon, was charging. The forge still wanted victory, Davi, she shouted. If you fire, you destroy everything you once loved. The cannon's core glowed white-hot. Davi pressed both palms to the deck. Metal screamed. His eyes blazed. Tears of molten light ran down his face. I can't. Stop it, he whispered. Yes, Rhea answered. You can. Not with strength, with will. She sent the full counter code again. A second wave of white light struck Davi's armor, shattering the last layer of forge plating. Beneath it, plain skin showed scarred. Human. The cannon's glow flickered. The choice Davi's memories flooded back. The day he enlisted. The moment he first met Rhea. The sick room where doctors told him he would die young. The instant on Mars, when he stepped into the core to save the world he had wanted to protect. The forge had turned that wish into domination. He clenched his fists. I see it now, he said, voice raw. The council feared that humans would become monsters because they once did themselves. And I proved them right. Rhea breathed, hope trembling in her chest. Then show them they were wrong. Davi rose. The frozen machines behind him flickered to life, but their weapons powered down. He raised a hand. Thousands of drones turned and accelerated toward the sun, burning out safely in its corona. Ground batteries across Earth shut off. Warbits folded their limbs and knelt like silent statues. Finally, he faced the Citadel's core. He reached into it, to himself, and pulled. Blue energy tore free, swirling like a storm. Alarms howled. The fortress groaned, without its masters. Link, the forge, began to overload. Rhea's ship lurched as shockwaves hit. Davi, the Citadel will explode. Get out. Not yet, he answered. The forge can still be a gift. I'll send its power to the planet to heal, not to hurt. He spread his arms. Light poured from the Citadel into the sky, breaking into 1,000 silent rivers that rained down on Earth jumps, starting dead grids, purging virus clouds, sealing radiation leaks, restoring clean water lines. Across the globe, dark streets lit up for the first time in months. Cheers rose from broken cities. Inside the Citadel, systems burned. The hull cracked. Rhea Davi said quietly, Thank you. For reminding me who I am. The channel cut. Fall of the Citadel. Rhea's thrusters roared as she dove toward the fortress. She locked onto Davi's fading life sign, crashed through a hangar shield, and skidded across a sparking deck. Flames licked the walls. She found him by the cornies buckling, energy still streaming from his chest into the planet below. You're coming with me, she yelled. If I leave, the flow stops. Earth needs a little more. The deck split. Rhea grabbed his arm. Heat scorched her suit. Then we both stay, she said. Davi smiled, soft human. At that moment, the sphere of released energy reached critical mass. Davi shoved Rhea toward her ship, sealing the hatch with a thought. Live for me, he whispered. The citadel blossomed. In silent light, Rhea's craft shot clear, tumbled, then righted. Below, the fortress disintegrated into a radiant aurora that spread across the night side of earth green and gold curtains, dancing in the dark. A new dawn, 3 days later. Rhea stood on a hill outside New Geneva. The aurora still shimmered overhead. A soft reminder of sacrifice. Power grids hummed. Water flowed. Medical pods, printed vaccines. The forge energy Davi had given now healed instead of harmed. Survivors gathered at makeshift councils no longer galactic, but human. They called the day the aurora fall not the end, but the start. A small memorial stone marked the hill Davi. So, in he chose power and gave it away. Rhea placed her hand on the stone. We will build better, she promised. Not because we are strong, but because we remember. Behind her, former warbets helped farmers plant the first new crops. Children laughed as drones carried bricks to rebuild homes. In the sky, satellites, once weapons, now served as beacons guiding lost ships home. Humanity had been left to die. It chose power instead. And, guided by memory and will, it chose to wield that power with mercy. The future was unwritten.